Hello, y'all. How are we doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful time. All right. So I'm a little late getting on here today, and I've kind of changed how I'm sharing this out to you, y'all. And there's a few reasons for that. So give me just a second. Let me make sure we've got all of our sound, and we're gonna start having some fun. All right, so got sound. All right, come on, let me into my dashboard. I can't get into my dashboard, y'all. Give me just 1 second, okay? And we are gonna get this going. All right. Come join me. The proof is in the need, is what we're talking about today. All right, and that is so much fun. Like, how many of you love making homemade bread, right? Okay, so I had to get that sent out to our members. All right, so I hope you all love this. And yeah, so if you have any questions, I want you to drop them down below. And if you, so I moved places and I started talking, so now they know I'm here. Okay. Can you go ask Stony, please? Okay. All right. So we are on day 5 of our Start Finding Success in Baking challenge that's happening. Now, I've been live almost every day last week inside our private members group, and then I was sending it back out to y'all here on our main page. We're going to swap that around. So I used to be able to like just cross save it to the groups and here, and that hasn't been working very well. So we're changing it up for this week, and we'll see how this goes. So if you have any questions about making your homemade breads, please make sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them during this live. And what we're going to be talking about today is the proof is in the need. All right, day 5 of our live homemade bread challenge, so that you can start finding success in baking your homemade breads today instead of a year from now. Okay, so if you're serious about learning how to make homemade breads, like, honey, I've got your back. You're in the right place. All right, I've got you. So we're talking about kneading. So there's this big fad going on right now of no-knead breads. No-knead breads can be amazing. They all have their places, y'all, okay? But there's a problem with no-knead breads in the fact that you aren't connecting to it, my love. If you aren't connecting to that bread, then my dear, we need to reevaluate a few things. Homemade bread is a living and breathing thing that you literally breathe life into, all right? And no-knead breads, like, yes, you do actually have to touch your breads and you have to work them and put them into your loaves, but really there's very little actual connection there. And it, to me, as a kneading old-fashioned handmade bread person, I just like, why do you not want to connect to your bread? I don't understand it. I don't. Now, yes, there are times no-knead breads are beautiful. They're amazing, and they can really actually help cut down on the amount of time you need. So if you're wanting to do a no-knead bread, all you got to do is you mix your flour, your salt, your yeast, and your water together. You mix it all up, and you let it proof all the way up. Now, this is where it starts to vary a little bit. So some say let it proof all the way up and just put it in your fridge right away. Others say raise it all the way up, let it completely deflate on its own, Then you wrap it, put it in your fridge, let it sit overnight. Then you pull it out the next day, and then you form it into your loaves, and voila, you let it do its final proofing, and you put it in your oven. Now, that can be great, but that's only great if you're okay with waiting to have your homemade breads like in 24 hours. Or, yeah, so there's a lot of steps that kind of go into that. It's not a lot of steps, but it's really spread out. If y'all are anything like me, keeping your focus and your concentration going for a long duration like that can be really difficult. So you're setting like alarms on your phone and everything else, just so you don't forget that you're supposed to be pulling that dough out first thing in the morning to, to let it come up to room temp and start raising and get it all formed into its loaves. And then you still got to wait for it to proof up. It's just a long process. Whereas the breads I teach you, especially this past year, I've been teaching you all about a quicker yeast bread. You have homemade bread in an hour, hour and a half. Like, seriously, that's a big difference. And it's only like 10, maybe 15 minutes of actual hands-on time. We can all take 10, maybe 15 minutes of actual hands-on time to, get our breads going just like we want them to, all right? So, let's dive into the actual kneading process, y'all. Different grains require different amounts of kneading. And so, here, 1 second. Oh, I need to make sure on one thing really fast. So, I almost forgot. Okay? I almost forgot. Let me double check and make sure this is actually going out like it's supposed to. Okay, it is. Good. Good. Okay, so that's going out. I will do my best to answer any questions that come in while we are live. So just in case. I'll do my best to keep up with any of them. So I actually have 2 different forms happening right now. So just in case, if you have questions, make sure you drop them down below. If you know somebody that could benefit from this, or you think might be interested in learning how to make homemade breads, and they're kind of struggling, or maybe they're just really busy, so they're really having a hard time getting it fit into their schedules, hey, share this out to them, seriously. So grab the link and just share it out to them, and invite them over to come join us on our lives. So I will be live all week long, y'all. So I'm not live on the weekends just because I gotta have some actual family time. But we are live all week during the week, okay? And I am usually live by 11, but today we had a few setbacks. Okay? Okay, different grains require different amount of kneading. So, white. Let's start with white, okay? White breads don't require hardly any kneading. And that kneading is going to go down the finer that flour is ground. So if you're using like a double aught or a bread flour, it's seriously just it's gonna be very, very sticky in your hands. It's like putting your hands into a cloud. It's really, really a neat texture under your hands, because it just like right around your hands. It just like goops, and it's very, very little resistance to it. Now with a white bread, it's very easy to over knead it though. So you do have to be careful, because if you over knead your bread, then it's going to turn your bread stiff, and it's going to make it dry out faster. Okay? Now, if you're making certain different types of breads, that's exactly what you want. Say you're making a French bread, that is what you want. You want a very stiff and dry bread. That is what French bread is. You want it very, very airy, okay? And it has that very unique flavor and texture and taste and everything that goes to it. It's absolutely yummy, delicious. Now, if you're making a sandwich bread, you don't necessarily want all those great big airy holes all the way through it. You just want a consistent texture through it. Okay? Belle and Clara, shut the door. You have to be very quiet if you're going to be in here, okay? Very quiet. No, you don't have to lock the door again. Just go sit down. Okay? Just go sit down. All right. So, your fine grind flours are going to require far less kneading. So, there have been times that literally I've kneaded my white flours for 2, maybe 3 minutes. And that's all they've taken, okay? And, yeah. So, Belle, oh, I got my stand. Don't put that in wrong. You gonna say hi? Kuka. Like Kuka. Okay, no being silly, okay? No being silly. Hey, you can't miss. Mommy's teaching.
Hi.
Okay, Mama's teaching, so you gotta be quiet for me, okay? All right, y'all. So your white grains are going to take far less, or your very, very fine flours that have been very well sifted. The more sifting, the finer the grind is going to be, the lighter and fluffier the texture of your final bread result is going to be, and the less hands-on work time it requires, okay? It's also, those different grains are also going to require different amounts of fats and water too. And that's just because of how finely they're ground. They're going to soak up the moisture a lot different. And they're going to use those baking fats a little bit differently in order so that you can get a good knead. All right, so let's go on to my favorite type of bread to teach. My favorite grain mix, which is a half wheat. So I love a half wheat. Now, in some ways, a half wheat is actually what a whole wheat that you would buy from the store is, okay? So, a half wheat, store-wise for your economy, like wheats, it's actually the same, like, flour mix. Now, there's a huge difference between store-bought versus homemade on it. But even, like, most of your homemade, or most of your bread recipes that you can find, your general recipes that are a whole wheat recipe, it's 2 cups wheat, 2 cups white. It's a half wheat bread. But it's all in the way that you mix it together that's going to change how that bread looks, how it tastes. All right? The proof is in the knead, honey. It's all in how you work it together, okay? So, if you're doing a half wheat, but you want more of that white appearance, you're going to have to join me in my homemade breads for the busy parent course, and I'll explain all that. But, half wheat is this beautiful middle ground. When you know how to do it right, it's this beautiful middle ground where you can suit your more whole wheat desire, and your family can still have that white, fluffy, richer impression of a white bread. So it's this nice little in-between, okay? And honestly, to get the best results, let me tell you a secret. To get the best results for your wants and your family's wants, when you both want different types of bread like that, a whole wheat versus a white, make it a multi-half wheat grain, okay? Add those other grains in there, and it makes it completely changes the flavor, and it just, pow. Oh, it's just so good, y'all. It's so good. All right, now a half wheat. So if you actually want a recipe, I have a link available for you right now, and it is our fail-proof recipe, which is a half wheat multigrain, okay? So good. It is literally one of my family's absolute favorites, and I based it off of my old original recipe that I developed all those years ago, back when I first started really getting successful with making breads that fit into my unique diet needs and my family's preferred tastes. So the half wheat Oh, it's so good. The half-wheat multigrain bread. Oh, yummy. My family loves buttermilk, so that recipe is based off of a buttermilk old baking method traditions. Yeah, so it's really good. Y'all, seriously, go grab the recipe. It's free. You can save, download, print it, just pop it in your cookbook or keep it right there on your phone, and then you've always got it with you all the time. And it's super fast. Seriously, you can make this bread in an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the type of bread that you're going for and all the goodies. And we have free trainings on how to make these. So if you're over on our members page, click over onto the guide section, y'all, because you can find a whole bunch of trainings in the guide section that are all broke down to exactly what it is that you are needing to like zero in on for your bread baking, okay? And for all y'all, for anyone that hasn't joined us in our group, if you grab the recipe, you're going to get an invitation to come join us in the group. But you can also find all of, well, not all of the trainings. You can find our most recent trainings over on our YouTube channel, okay? So the YouTube channel is still kind of new. We're still kind of getting a feel for exactly how I want the videos to go out. I'm still working on a few little changes on how I'm sending them out to you guys. But so far, I'm kind of liking them. All right, so our whole wheat, actually, I kind of jumped the gun. So let's talk about multigrains really fast. So if you are going to start adding multigrains to your bread, so this could be, no, can't play with that, okay? You got to behave if you're going to be in here, or you'll have to step out.
Who's this?
It's just a feather.
This is this.
It's just a feather, honey.
This is soft.
Yes, it is. All right, here, I got to do this, okay?
What's this from? What's a feather from?
From a bird.
From a bird?
Yes, from a bird.
Which bird?
I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, please don't.
This is a feather from a bird. Which bird is a duck a bird?
Yes, I don't remember off the top of my head what bird that comes off of. Okay, multigrains. Now, if you're going to start adding multigrains to your bread, so this can be, example, I often use flaxseed milled and whole flaxseed. I use oatmeal. I even use oat flour. You can even use almond flours. So there's a ton of different grains that you can actually add into your breads, okay?
What's this for?
That's what I was hiding in my office.
Mom, what's this?
It's my sewing machine, and you can't play with it because it can hurt you. You can use that one. So, okay? But, Belle, you have to be quiet if you're going to stay in here with me, okay? No more fidgeting. All right, y'all. So, multigrains. Not all grains have glucose, y'all. And we're making yeast breads. And yeast breads require glucose, y'all. So, and that's exactly why we're kneading. We are kneading things out. We have to knead our grains precisely because we need those glucoses to come out of the grains to feed the yeast so that your bread can actually raise. Okay, so if you're not getting the right knead time or you have if you have too much flour in there that is a no glucose or a low glucose count to it, you're going to have to either supplement some glucose or you're going to have to work that bread even more to work as much glucose as possible out of the grains that do have glucose in them. So, for example, oatmeal is no or just low glucose. I actually don't remember off the top of my head. I knew this before I started, and now I can't remember. So I use oatmeal a lot. But oatmeal has a very, very strong flavor. No. Clara, do you want to be in here with me?
I actually need a phone that John's stuff.
You can take that blue one right there on top. Okay, but only a couple of them, okay? Not all of them, all right?
Okay.
Now please close the door. Please close the cabinet. You can't do it with the other sweet girl. You gotta do it with your hand. Thank you. All right, now please behave for a minute. All right. I really try to hide when I'm doing these lives because it can get very distracting with children. And it doesn't always happen. Okay? It just doesn't happen. All right, but that's okay. Okay. So either you've got to supplement some glucose into it. So there are different types of supplemental glucose that you can get to add to your flours. And you can look on like Amazon and different baking supply companies and find those things for you because they're more of a specialty thing. And then you also have to remember that the more grains that you add, the more unique the flavor and the taste of the bread's going to be. And the more coarse grains you add into it, the more you're going to have to soften some of those up in order to get them all to like glue and stick to each other and just really form up a very nice textured bread. Okay, so, and if you want to learn more about all of that, come join me in Homemade Breads for the Busy Parent. So you can get on the wait list. I'm just about to open the doors. And so, yeah, I'm so excited because I'm really doing the course. I'm really going to be doing the course differently this year. So it's going to be nuts. But it's going to be different. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared at the same time. But you know what? I am. I'm looking forward to it. So if you want to get in on the wait list, that's your best place to be. And then I will be sending out all the information from all these lives and the challenges and everything to you because I want you to start being successful today, not after my course opens, not after the course starts. I want you to start finding success today because I don't want you to come and join me in my course, honey, if it is not the right fit for you. So if you don't like getting your hands into that dough, then honey, this course is not for you and I'm not the right teacher for you, okay? Yes, I do occasionally show you different ways that you can make your breads for, some of those off days or just, change things up, whatever you've got going on. I really want to give you a very rounded information that you can fall back on, like at any time, okay? So, anyway, you can get on that at bit.ly/busyparent waitlist, okay? And let's see. So if you are, let me back up just a little bit. If you want to get on the, if you want the last recipe I was talking about. So the last recipe that I was talking about is my fail-proof. It's my quick fail-proof buttermilk recipe. And it's multi-grain. And you can snag that recipe for free at bit.ly. So bit.ly/fail-proof bread. All one word, all lowercase. That's a beautiful recipe, y'all. So go grab that one for your half wheat. It also goes into your multi-grains. It's delicious. And we've got trainings on our YouTube channel. And if you're watching from inside the members group, you can catch those in our guide section, as well as most recent trainings that have been done on them in the feed. So, all right, so whole wheat, a true whole wheat. What I classify as a whole wheat is like a true whole wheat. Now, I am going to be straight up with you. You still want to add a little bit of an all-purpose unbleached flour, okay? And, well, stop doing that, please. And all that is because you almost need those finer grains in there every now and then to really kind of glue those coarse whole wheats together. Now, the coarser the wheat, the longer it's going to take to knead. The coarser the grain, the more fats you need. And you need to change your water content too, okay? So whole wheat is going to be a drier bread than a white version of the exact same bread. And a whole wheat, you really need those like good baking fats in there, because those coarse grains have a tendency to like they really get caught in on each other. So you need those baking fats so that the grains can slide, honey, instead of just gluing themselves together and being this really hard, lumpy log that you can't hardly work with. So you've got to be very careful with your water mixtures. Now, a true whole wheat, if you're using a store-bought wheat, it's going to take about 10 minutes to knead. Now, if you are using a fresh, home ground, unsifted, that can take longer. So depending on how fine your grinder goes at home, it's going to change that. So, for example, when we left Star Valley and we hit the road, we RV'd all over the backcountry of the western U.S. Seriously, backcountry, dirt roads, camping out in the middle of no man's land with our kids. And we were out on the road for about a year, exploring like old ghost towns. And we would go out and I would we did a lot of foraging and I ground everything. We lived off long dry food storage and canned goods. And then when we went into town, we resupplied about every other week, sometimes once a month. And that was just, your perishable items, because I couldn't really grow anything very well because we were changing altitudes so fast that anytime I tried to actually just grow something in pots, it didn't work very well. And very small living space. So let's see, our living space was 160 square feet. I think that's what it was. Let me see. I'm curious now. What was our living space in the camper? So, we had 208 square feet of living space in the camper. So we had very, very limited space. So we actually had our horse trailer with us that we had our four-wheelers in, and we had all of our mining equipment in, and we also had some of our really heavy long-term food storages in. So such as our dried beans and rices and all of our wheat berries. And then I used my little Victorian to grind up all of our flours. And I made bread almost every day, y'all. Almost every single day. I was baking homemade breads. Okay, so I gotta raise my camera up because I'm moving around here. All right, so, yeah, so it was a big change when I switched over to making my own flours from my little Victorian after my first great big heavy duty expensive grinder literally shattered on me the first time I tried to use it. Story for another time. A note to the weary: when you start buying your own grinders, you really need to look into them. And when somebody says it doesn't grind it fine enough for bread, just move on. Okay, just move on. All right, don't even bother with it. Seriously. Seriously,
okay,
don't. And yeah, so.
Mom,
Yes.
I do the flower when you sit.
Oh, okay. All right. So, anywho, y'all.
This is a picture of a flower.
And it's a very pretty one.
But you said the flower.
Yeah, it's very pretty. I like it.
I did this.
I guess. All right. Go on now. Okay, y'all. So, so when I did that, I suddenly, my breads wouldn't raise up. This is what happens when you don't knead your breads for long enough, depending on the type of grain that you're using. So I had been baking and teaching others how to make homemade breads for several years by this point. And then when we moved on the road, like I stopped teaching all the things, and we had very little technology with us. Like we did have a phone, but most of the time there was no signal. We were some like 50 miles away from like the nearest little town. So we were very, very self-reliant while we were on the road, and self-reliant, self-sufficient, kind of life. And so there was a lot of foraging. There was a lot of just interaction with nature and just really kind of turning the pages back on time. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Oh, seriously, y'all, if I could get away with going back, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Yes.
This flower is 1817.
Okay.
And 18.
Yep. Okay. Now I need you to sit down and just be quiet for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So, if you have a coarser grind, like my little Victorian creates. Now, my little Victorian is a fine grinder, okay? It grinds beautifully. Okay, love it. It was manual, like it is a manual. We will eventually, now I do have an electric one, a big boy, but it's got some complications to it. So, like, I actually need to get some new grinder heads for it because it's set for, like, some heavy, heavy-duty coarse, like, grains. It doesn't go down very fine. In fact, I literally can't make bread from it. It's very, very, very coarse. Now, if I sprout my wheat, I get a little bit of a finer grind because then it's softened up some. But it's still not very fine. It's still pretty coarse for a flour, so it feels literally like sand on your hands. And in fact, I had that problem a little bit with my Victorian too, because before I really got it turned down for that fine grind, well, the finest that it does anyway. If you didn't keep it, yes.
Is the funkiest?
It is the funkiest. Okay, can you give me a minute, please? All right, so yeah, you have to constantly kind of tighten the tension nut every now and then on it, especially if you've got a lot, because like it's a manual, so like you really get a lot of thunk with it as you're turning it, and it's just the rhythm of how your arm goes around and the tension. So you've got like all this resistance, and then there's like knot, and then you have resistance as you pull it up, and then knot, and then resistance, knot, and okay, just a second. But so if I didn't keep the tension knob tight while we were grinding, then my coarse would start getting a little coarser, and then it would be like sandpaper on your hands. Yeah, so I had to be very careful about that. And then, Clara, that's very distracting. Okay, she's literally like walking back and forth, dodging underneath my stand here. Stop, please. That shakes my camera all over the place, and then they can't see what's happening, okay? Please, be my big girl, be my big helper. And Mommy can't think when you're doing that, okay?
I'm going back and forth.
Yes, I know.
That's why I can't see. I'm doing.
Clara, I need you to sit down, please. And don't shake my camera, please. Listen. If you can't be still and sit down, then you're going to have to go out. You want to be in here with Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then sit down. Thank you. Okay, so your whole wheats, we gotta get this going. So if you've got a coarse grind, that is actually where my little secret extra step of doing the pre-proof actually comes into play, because when you're using coarse grinds and you're using making a true whole wheat bread where it is like 80 to 90% whole wheat instead and now I'm meaning like a dark whole wheat, such as red wheat, red hard wheat, then you're really going to have to work those grains, because your hard wheats, whether it's red or white, they are going to produce a coarser flour when you get all said and done. But they have a higher glucose count.
I don't know. I sat here because I'm trying how much I want.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, so those coarser grains are really going to affect how long you've got to knead, and you actually need to soften them up as much as possible before you start the kneading process, because it's going to cut your knead time down dramatically, y'all, okay? Dramatically. And if you want to know more about how the pre-proofing works, come join me. I go deeper into that in Homemade Breads for the Busy Parent course. So get on the wait list if you want in on that action. Okay? So your whole wheats require anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes of actual kneading. Okay? Now that's going to vary depending on if you're supplementing just a little bit of an all-purpose or a soft wheat berry to it. So a soft white berry versus the hard white berry to it is going to change things up. And then, so I've gotten distracted too many times, y'all. My brain's like trying to like reconnect to where it's supposed to be. I'm not going to lie. Happy Monday, y'all. How's your Monday so far? My brain's not quite working right this Monday. Okay, so if you've got a little bit of white flour in there, that it's just an all-purpose flour. That's what I refer to as a white flour. It's just a soft white berry, and you can even use a soft red. I think it's a red. I think there's a soft red and a hard red, but I can't remember for sure now.
Mom, is this funny to you?
I think it's pretty good. Give me a second to finish up, okay?
So
they are...
This is funny to you.
Yes.
This is just with one spoon to head.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you're supplementing with a little bit of a white flour, an all-purpose flour, preferably never bleached, never buy a bleached flour, okay? If you're supplementing with that, it's going to actually help glue those grains together, and it's going to make the kneading process so much easier. So always add 1 to 2 cups of a all-purpose or a soft white flour to your flour mix. And I'll tell you more about the details of why I always teach you the way I do on adding these grains, if you want more on that, Homemade Breads for the Busy Parent. But it's all in the way that you mix it, y'all. And if you can take and give those additional rest times and those little proofings and all of that, it's going to cut your time dramatically on how long you have to knead it. So when I was on the road with the family and I was grinding, I was making, so my mix was 50% hard grains and 50% soft grains of both reds and whites, okay? And that worked really nice for me. So I just did a 50-50 mix, like directly with my grains. I just ground it that way. And that worked beautiful for me. Beautiful. But the whole wheat, so if you're buying your grains from the store, they're going to be a little drier than your fresh ground ones, okay? And the drier it is, the more you're going to have to work it, the more fat you're going to have to add to it. And often, not always the case, but often you're going to have to add a little bit more water to it too, because you've got to be able to work that dough long enough in order to release those glucoses in order to have your bread raised. Now, the more coarse ground flours that you use is going to make your bread more dense too. So you do need to keep that in mind. So if you don't like a dense bread, honey, my channel might not be the best option for you, because I teach Old Pioneer baking, which is a denser bread than what we are accustomed to at the store, because I don't use the really, really super fine ground flours that have been sifted and removed of all of its bran and everything else that goes into it. I just don't use that, because then you're losing all of that nutritional value that comes packed in it. Yes.
There's cookies.
Yes, it
And
is.
look.
Wow. Yes, I see. I see.
Who's this?
I see.
Who's this?
It's your teeth. And your gums.
Gums? I really use gums.
Oh, yep. Good
I
job.
drew teeth and drew
I see
gums
it.
on here.
I see it. Can you wait for just a few minutes while I wrap this up, please? Okay.
There's one up here, down there. Your teeth on here, up here, down.
All right.
This teeth over there.
Yes. All right. So I have one last recipe that I'm going to suggest to you guys. Our whole wheat honey oatmeal bread recipe. All right. So if you want a really yummy tasting whole wheat bread, using my suggested way of making a whole wheat, go grab the whole wheat honey oatmeal bread. So I have the link featured, but also, okay, so let's see. So I'm going to show all of these to you guys, okay? So let's see. That's not what I wanted. All right, so it's been a long time since I've used this feature. Okay, so you guys should be seeing the one featuring out right now. Okay, so it is, you can find it and my link up in my bio, where you can get all of the links to all of the recipes. That you can join the Busy Parent waitlist. You can even go shopping in our store. Everything is in that link. So just scroll down to the homemade breads area and you can grab your recipes and join the waitlist. It's awesome fun. So it is at bit.ly, so bit.ly/whole wheat oat bread. Okay, so it's all one word, all lowercase. Whole wheat oat bread. All right, so it's delicious, y'all, okay? It's delicious, all right? Now, I don't actually know which training I have tagged with the recipe on that one. I think it's still the mixing machine. But that's kind of nice. Like, for the whole wheats, every now and then, it's kind of nice to just use a good heavy-duty standard mixer that goes with a whole wheat recipe. And it's just because those coarser grains, oh, yeah, they require some oomph. Okay, they really do. They require a lot of oomph to actually get through it. All right, so this live has gone on far longer than I had meant to, and I apologize. Oh, I'm going to click on my button. Okay, so I'm going to show this one to you. All right, so if you want the half wheat fail-proof recipe, so this is a half wheat multi-grain buttermilk recipe. It takes half the time of a traditional recipe, y'all, and it's delicious. So you can grab the recipe right here at bit.ly, so bit.ly/fail-proof bread. So it's all one word, lowercase, all right? So I think the one I have featured here has the capital F on it, but either way, so you can capital or lowercase f. I've got two links for that one. And then you can grab your honey oatmeal whole wheat bread recipe right here at bit.ly/whole wheat oat bread. All one word, all lowercase, my dears. So these are free recipes that y'all can use at any time that you want. So they are a quick yeast bread. These breads literally only take an hour to an hour and a half to make. And that's start to finish. That's from pulling your flour out of your cupboard and mixing up your yeast starter to when you're pulling it out of your oven finished and baked. An hour to an hour and a half, y'all, okay? And it's beautiful. And we have multiple trainings for both of these breads. So let me pull up the half wheat multigrain buttermilk recipe again. So it's over at Fail-Proof Bread. So they're all at bit.ly, so bit.ly/ and then Fail-Proof Bread for our half wheat multigrain buttermilk bread. And then if you want the whole wheat honey oatmeal bread, it is at bit.ly/ whole wheat oat bread. So great. Now for any of you that would like to know more information on our coming course of homemade breads for the busy parent, one second, swing over and get on the wait list.
Mom.
Swing over and get on the wait list. 1 second. Wait your turn. Manners, wait your turn. And it is at bit.ly/ busy parent waitlist, y'all, where I'm going to send you all the goody details of what you need to know, and so that you can decide whether or not this course and my teaching style is right for you, okay? All right, y'all, I have got to get back to my kids, okay? So I really hope that you will come and join me in our upcoming course. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them down below. You'll also be able to find this video right along with the rest of our other trainings over on our YouTube channel. So you can you can watch all the trainings on our YouTube channel along with our free master bake that we did at
Mom, look.
along with our free master class that we did. Yes.
Something inside this.
Yes, it's for putting it on a necklace.
Please put it inside now.
Okay, my kids are really sick of mom working and the camera, okay, y'all. So sometimes it makes it a little more difficult. And this live has been much longer than I had planned on. But you know, that's life. I am right there with y'all. I am a busy mama. I'm a home baker, and I run my own business with my 2 toddlers, and life is fun. And then on top of it, I've got 3 older kids. So, you know, you just never know what life's going to throw at you. So it doesn't matter if you've got kids that are living at home with you, or if, say, you're grandma and grandpa and you're actually raising your own grandkids, you know. You never know what life's going to throw at you. And life can be insane. It can be, like, fun and exhilarating. Life is so many things. And I want to help make this baking process of learning how to successfully bake all of your own homemade breads from scratch in the comforts of your own home on your own time. I want to make this learning process so much easier for you. And I'm constantly coming up with new recipes, new ways of mixing old traditional ways with what we know today and combining them all together. So my recipes, they've all been based off those old pioneer recipes, but they've been modified for more of our modern diets, because we just don't need that high amount of calories and salts and sugars and everything in our diet anymore, because we just don't work at the level that our great-grandparents used to, okay? So, my dears, I love you, and join me tomorrow live at 11 a.m. Mountain Central Time, and we will dive into day 6. So if you have questions, make sure you share them down below, and if you know somebody that could benefit from this information, please do me a solid favor and share this out to them. See you guys.